Now in its 10th year, this is GabNet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey everybody, live from Harlem in New York City, it's me. Yep, it's Alex with the Ramble. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go out to the west coast of the United States and say hello to our old friend Larry Bubbles Brown.
Hey, how's it going, Alex?
How's it going with you?
I was just thinking, I went to my safety deposit box this week, and I had some pretty interesting baseball cards and stuff. And I'm thinking you must have a ton of memorabilia.
Hold on a second. Is it safety deposit box or safe deposit box?
Safe deposit box.
Yeah. I used to call it safety deposit box too. Yeah. But anyway.
And the banks are getting rid of all of them. But
yeah. But anyway, so you had baseball cards there.
I had some good baseball cards. I started to think, God, how much memorabilia does Alex have? You had a ton of stuff.
I don't know that. What do you consider memorabilia?
Oh, just little things from radio. People were always bringing you weird things in. And
you know something? I think a lot of that's in storage if I saved a lot of it. There's not much. You know,
I'm surprised.
The best. I have a baseball card.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have a Roy Hobbs.
Roy Hobbs.
You don't remember Roy Hobbs?
From The Natural.
The Natural. I actually have a trading card for Roy Hobbs that was used in the movie.
Oh wow!
Remember at one point in the movie, there's a printer and they're printing out these Roy Hobbs baseball cards.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, somebody cut them all up, and I got one of them.
That could be worth a little money.
I don't know, because I've said to people, I have a Roy Hobbs, and they go, oh, that's nothing. That's not like, they're like a Willie Mays or whatever, What's the best baseball card you've got?
I've got a Mickey Mantle card, his last one that I saw on eBay. Somebody had it for $37,000.
What?
Yeah, it's and I have to get mine graded, but mine, it looks like it's in really pristine condition, so that's all the difference. So.
$37,000?
Somebody had one, yeah. It's and I think it could go. I was reading it. I think that card might go to 100. I don't know.
Wow. Can I be?
But
his
rookie card is sold for one of them sold for $5 million.
Really?
Yeah.
That really is a sample of the old saying, "Don't throw anything out."
Yeah. Oh.
Wow. Can you be my friend with that kind of money?
Well, your old friend Shecky apparently had a ton of baseball cards.
I think he did. I don't know what happened to them. I don't know who got them. I don't know if they went out and found out what they were worth to find out what he was worth. I guess they're not worth anything till you sell them.
Right.
Right? Now, my question is, okay, so now let's say it's worth $50,000.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to get rid of it?
No.
Why?
Because I think it might be worth more someday, or I kind of like to keep it in reserve in case I need emergency money, then I can sell it.
Now, those things also go down as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, there was a time when I'll tell you probably the one thing I've got here, I'm looking at it right now, it's in a frame that I have, is a postcard from John Lennon, in which, among other things, he references all the trouble he got to in L.A. that one year when he threw stuff in the pool and stuff like that. I think he was hanging out with, God, who was he hanging out with? Somebody, Nilsson. I think Nielsen was like a real reprobate, and he got into a lot of trouble. And it references it. It says, "I hope I was okay. I had a lot of trouble in L.A. last year." You know, so and at one point, it was estimated by somebody at being worth about $25,000. All right, but you know those things go down in value. You see, I mean, at that time, John Lennon had died, and so it was really worth something. But as years go on, they go down. And I asked Shecky how much he thought it was worth. He said about $25,000. He said, but if you wait on it, it probably will either go up or it will go down. And I was led to believe it actually would have gone down. You know. And people say, well, but do you want to get rid of that? It's a piece of memorabilia. And I go, $25,000? It's yours. You know.
Really?
I mean, come on. Yes, it's a memory. It's a keepsake. It's something that reminds me of something. But when I'm dead, it's not going to do me any good. You know, so why shouldn't it do me good right now? So I've never been one that says, oh, I collected this and now somebody wants $10,000 for it. Hey, take it. It's yours. You know. So, but you wouldn't give yours up, right?
Not right now, no. I think the thing like with John Lennon or Elvis Presley, I think the Elvis people sold a bunch of stuff because they realized younger people don't even know who Elvis is.
That's right. That's right.
So they don't see the price going up.
Well, Shecky, who was an inveterate collector, told me that in his opinion, things are only worth what people are willing to pay for them. In other words, just because you've got that Mickey Mantle, did you say? Mickey Mantle card, doesn't mean that it's going to go up. It could very well go down because it all depends on what people are willing to pay for it. That's the market. So you don't establish a price on something because you establish a price. You establish a price only when it's sold and you found out what somebody was willing to pay for it. So, welcome to the memorabilia show, folks. You know, I mean, I'd probably do better if I did a memorabilia show than if I'm doing this, but you know. So that's what memorabilia is worth, and it's only worth what people are willing to pay for it. That was according to Shecky, and he knew what he was talking about. And
markets, they go up and down. Like baseball cards get real hot, then they'll cool off, and then something else comes up, it gets hot for a while. It's very trendy.
And then if you wait a while, if it goes down, you wait a while, it goes up again. So, you know. But you're right about I mean, even true of John Lennon. I mean, how many kids know who John Lennon was? I know that sounds ridiculous when I say it here, folks, to all you old farts who are listening to this program. But the fact is, the kids today don't know who John Lennon was. They don't care who John Lennon was. John Lennon was before their time.
Right.
Yeah. Was he as popular as Taylor Swift? Now, that's a good question. Was he as popular as... Were the Beatles as popular as Taylor Swift?
Well, they would both fill big arenas, but
yeah.
She would. I wouldn't be surprised if she had more fans.
It could be. It could very well be. Also, we didn't have the distribution of media in those days that we have now. I mean, basically, what did they sell? They sold records. They sold CDs. They sold sometimes the 12-inchers or whatever. What was the size? What was the big size of discs? 12-inch discs. So they sold them on discs. They didn't even have tape back then. Now, everything's digital. How easy is it for somebody to buy a Taylor Swift song? They simply go online, click a button, and the next thing you know, they've got it in their machine. So they don't have to go to the music store and buy it. You want me to give you some? You want me to show you how old I am?
Yeah.
When I used to go listen to records, you know what I would do? I would go to the record store. And you know what the record stores all had? Listening booths. In other words, you could take a new record, you go into the listening booth, and you could listen to it to make sure you wanted it. That's how they sold it. They had there maybe in an average store there were 5 or 6 listening booths. They were all little soundproof booths, and you go in there and listen to the music.
Really?
Yeah, you know, yeah, they don't exist anymore. I mean, the listening booths are your computer, you know.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was cool. You know, we went in there and spent hours dancing and doing stuff like that inside. Made the owners of the stores livid, you know. Come on, we need to use those booths to sell records. What?
They were kind of social places, records. I remember Tower Records here. There'd be a ton of people cruising around there.
Mm-hmm. Do you
kind of fun.
Do you still call them records?
Yeah.
If somebody plays you a song, do you say
record?
Do you refer to it as a record?
I think so.
It's not a record. It's a digital copy. It's not a record.
God, I remember the little, remember the 45s?
Oh, well, the 45s, of course. And you had those little, if you could play them on a machine that did 78s, 45s, and 33 and a thirds. And the 33 and a thirds were LPs.
Those were like comedy albums.
Well, also they would have, if you did the Beatles, they'd have like 6 songs on one side and 6 songs on the other side. See, kids, if you're listening, you don't even understand what I'm talking about. And then the 45s were invented as a method of doing single records, basically.
Yeah.
And I thought they were very convenient because they had a big hole in the middle, which you could either put in a 45 player, which had a big spindle, or, I don't know if you remember this, you could go to the store and for 10 cents, 20 cents, buy 10 little fillers that you could clip into the middle of it.
Oh, the little plastic thing, yeah.
Yeah, that would make it play on a large turntable. Okay.
Right.
But the great thing about 45s were they had that big hole, and you could grab the 45 by the big hole with one finger and the edge of it by the other finger and never have to touch the surface of the recording. Did you know that was the reason for the big hole?
I did not.
Yeah. I mean, why else would they put a big hole in there? You know, to make themselves obsolete, I suppose. But 45s were a big method of selling a single, you know. And then all of a sudden, all those things went out of style because today it's all digital. I don't see how they actually stamped a record out. That seems like an odd way to collect audio. Well, press a big wax thing down. Well, they would record the song. Okay, in the later years they would record it on tape. In the early years, they would actually record it onto an acetate. They would cut the record. Literally, you've heard the term "cut a record." What they would do is they would have a big thing that would record. It would vibrate the needle, and then they would put it down on the thing, and you would start singing. Right? Don't stop. Finish your song. When you finish your song, they stop cutting the record. All right? Then they would take that and they would move that over somewhere else and they would make an impression of it, which was a stamper to stamp out records. So it would do that. Then it would make this stamper. Then the stamper would go into this machine. Then they would take some vinyl and a little vinyl ball and put it in there, and it would smush the whole thing down and make it into a recording. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
but then
when they said they cut a record, they literally did.
They literally cut a record, and I remember they used to have little vacuum cleaners because as it cut, it left this residue which built up. so they had to kind of suck it out of there while they were making the recording, so it didn't build up. And it was quite a process they had to go through. And once they got into the stamping part of it, and that was a mechanical thing, and they could do, hundreds an hour, thousands an hour, whatever. So that's the way they also did the 33s. They made a stamper, do you remember at the very end of every 33 there was a spiral?
Yeah.
So that so the needle would just keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I even remember the sound it made, So what it did is all had to be done in this spiral, and you put it in at the very beginning, and hopefully it started. Now in radio, do you remember? Did I ever play like a 33 or a recording off a turntable while you were around me there at the radio
I don't
station?
recall that, no.
Because by that time we had put most of our music on cassettes, or on what some people called them 8-tracks, but they really weren't.
They look like
8-tracks.
8-tracks, yeah.
They looked like 8-tracks, but they weren't 8-tracks. Because 8-tracks had a spindle in them. These didn't. These you put in a machine, you click the button, it started, it played the music, and then it would go to the beginning of the recording. It was on like a loop that went in. I forget what we used to call it. It was an endless loop. Okay, so you started playing it, and it kept going back in, and then it stopped when it was through. And the reason it stopped is we put a tone on there, and that would stop it. You could actually put 4 different recordings on one tape, and it would stop every time before the next one, because we put it, as you recorded it onto these I don't want to call them 8-tracks, but onto these cassettes. As you recorded them, they would, each time you would start them, they would create a tone, and every time the machine hit that tone, it would stop. So, does that explain it easily enough?
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm talking about? So,
Yeah.
but the thing is with recordings, see, if you ever watched me play a recording, when I started out in the business, you had to queue up a record. Now, what you did is you had a kind of like a cloth surface under the turntable, under the record, and you would put the record on, and you would then cue it up until it got to sound, and then you would take it and you would spin it backwards a little bit to get it before the sound started. So now it's ready to go, right? Well, the problem is you could just click the button, and sometimes if you didn't do it just right, the music would start up by going like that, right? So to prevent that, right, you held your hand on the recording, on the edge of the recording, started the turntable. Because there was cloth on the bottom, the record wouldn't spin. And as soon as you wanted to play the record, you would let go of it. You don't remember those days, do you?
No, that's old school.
That's what I learned when I got into the business, was how to cue up a record. And
Stacks of wax.
yeah. Later, the turntables got pretty fast starting up, and you could actually just flick a button and they would start. But you had to cue them up that way. You'd hear somebody going, meep, 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 and just getting the very beginning of the recording. So that's my history in radio, folks. I've gone from that to just pushing a button and playing a digital recording. What has changed in your life that you used to do that doesn't happen anymore?
That's for the well, since I hardly change anything, not a whole lot.
Well, how about microphones you've used?
Those are still pretty much the same.
Are they?
I think
When you
so.
first started, how many wired mics did you have? You used wired mics, right?
We had wired mics, yeah.
You used to almost have to like flick them to straighten them out while you were doing your act.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. When did I get the first wireless?
Probably
those
when you
came
did one
in.
of my shows.
I think so, yeah.
Because I bought 2 wireless mics for my comedy shows.
and they were really expensive.
And I figured, why the hell should these guys have to walk around tethered to us to to a mic cord? And so that's what we did. And so I think it was probably one of my shows where you first met up with a wireless microphone.
That's right. I forgot. Some guy I worked at Harrah's once, and when singers were on stage, that there would be a guy behind the curtain, and he would always have to take up the slack in the microphone cord as these people were running around the stage.
Right, right. I got to tell you though, even up until a few years ago, if somebody said to me, "Do you want a wired mic or a wireless mic?" I'd take the wired mic. I have a wired mic I'm talking into right now, and the reason is that wired never went bad.
Right, they never go out.
We would have wireless mics, for instance, when I was doing TV, and we would go out and I'd have the wireless mic on, and the guy doing the audio would go, "It's too much noise on the wireless, let's do it wired. Let's hardwire it." Because there is a lot of static out there. Wireless can pick up static and is subject to all that kind of stuff. So wired, you never have a problem. I mean, hell, this microphone's been plugged in now for a year now, and I've never had a problem with the mic being connected.
And he always had the chance the batteries dying too in the wireless.
That too. We used to carry around a whole bunch of batteries for our mics for those comedy shows, just in case they went out. And the reason we had two of them was in case one of them went out. So that was the way to do it. That's how it's changed for you. I mean, how many clubs do you go into that hand you a wireless mic now?
Yeah, most of them.
Yeah, most of them. So you see, we've seen all that happen in our lifetime, right? I mean,
now, in our twilight years, we wonder what becomes next.
Well, you're about what? You're how old now?
72.
72. So you're 12 years younger than I am. Do you remember your first TV set?
Of course.
Right, there wasn't one in your house when you were born, right? Or was there?
Well, let's see. There. So this is I've been in the mid 50s. I remember we had a TV, but
oh, okay. Well, a lot of people started buying TV sets in the mid 50s. I was born in 1939. I grew up on radio. Okay. TV
definitely before, yeah.
Yeah, I remember when we got our first TV set. It was a TV set. Was a brand was Traveler. I know, ridiculous, right? Traveler, and you didn't click the channels on the Traveler. It actually, you brought the picture in just by doing the knob. Channel 7 was here, Channel 4 was there, but you just tuned it in. And I remember them coming and putting up a 20-foot antenna on the top of our house because we lived in Marin County, and we weren't really direct sight to the what do you call it, to the transmitters. So that was.
You remember what a TV cost then?
God, I don't know. I'd say
I think they were expensive.
I think they were about $500 maybe.
That's a lot of money then.
Something like that. Yeah, that was a lot of money in those days. But then they got cheaper because they got mass produced, and that's when you had the boom. And in the beginning of the beginning of the 50s to mid 50s, television had a boom where they went from several million sets in homes to 50 million sets in homes. It just was this absolute boom. And it killed movie theaters. It killed a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
My father was a musician. It killed a lot of clubs where he would play music or outdoor venues, So, I mean, people stayed home and they just watched television. They were mesmerized by it, And most of television sucked. I mean, the stuff that was on was just pathetic. I remember the first show that was on every day when I first had a TV set, went on at 4:30 in the afternoon, and it was Howdy Doody.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. And you would wait till 4:30 for them to turn the TV station on. It went to about midnight, and then you got a test pattern for the rest of
That
the
was
night.
it.
Yeah. Remember the test pattern?
Yeah.
Okay, then you're old enough. Yeah, test pattern. The Indian head in the middle of it. But anyway.
I remember as a kid going into stores and they had all these color TVs on display, and the colors were so bad.
Well, the next time I talk to you, I'll tell you how we read test patterns. Anyway, hey, we've run out of time here.
We have.
Another time just spent talking about absolutely nothing, which is fine with me. Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Bubbles Brown. Yay!
Now in its 10th year, this is GabNet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey, thank you, Larry. We appreciate it. We appreciate your joining us, and as you do each and every week, and we really appreciate it. It's Friday night. Usually, Friday nights have been a really hot night for us, but I guess it's not going to be tonight because I only have one person waiting to come on here. Just one. Only one. And it happens to be Charlie Wallace. Let me see here. Let me see if we can. There we go. There's Charlie Wallace. Well, it's just you and I, Charlie. Wait a minute. He's connecting his audio. Mm-hmm. It's just you and I. Are you ready? Turn your mic. He's connecting his audio, but it's not connecting. Oh boy. See, it says there Charlie Wallace is connecting to audio, and it's not working. Oh, there he is. Are you there?
I had to shut off the YouTube button.
Yeah. Okay. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Talk to her a little more directly into your microphone because it's
I will try.
it's kind of low.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's really low. If we can do anything to raise it up. It's just you and me, by the way.
Yeah, actually, I've never had to change the volume before, so I don't know how to do it.
Yeah. Well, let me see here. Hold on a second. I think I can do something here. Let me see. Up, 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 up.
Yep. Is
Up.
that good enough?
I've got it. I've turned it up here.
Okay.
There you go. Oh well, here comes somebody else here. Oh, here comes Mark Thorner. Okay. And here comes Jeff Stein as well. Second night for Mark Thorner, and I love the fact that Mark's with us because one of my favorite callers of all time.
So, okay, so here's something before I forget, Alex, and I wish Larry was here. Yes, the thing about the mantle card that he has, it's only going to go up in value.
Oh, really?
Oh boy, and here's the other story.
Mm-hmm.
In the 90s, Topps, the publisher maker of baseball cards, had an auction of their warehouse. And a bunch of us went more to score the auction catalog because it was a great book with all the stuff. One of the things was the original artwork for Mickey's rookie card. It was a illustration that went for $125,000.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh,
But now here's the catch. It was an anonymous, we didn't know. It was Mickey himself because he had it on display at his restaurant on Central Park South. Wow. Yeah. He bought it for himself just so he could put it on display.
wow.
But that was one of the most insane auctions because when you realize the cultural history that Topps has in the 90s, in the early 90s, they cleared out their warehouse, uncut proof sheets. I mean, Mars Attacks cards, original artwork. All of it went so high, it was unbelievable. It was a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, baseball cards like that, they only printed a finite amount, and they're only going to go up in price.
So Bubbles shouldn't sell his, or Bubbles should sell his. I mean, because they can go down too, can't they?
Very rarely.
Really?
I mean, the fact that they still exist in some numbers, but boy, I mean,
yeah.
and yes, I remember also dealing with vinyl albums in the school radio station. I think the system, wasn't it called Magna Cart? The cart system.
Geez, I don't know. There were several companies. Okay.
The one but here's the thing, and I never got this right, was queuing up a record,
Mm-hmm.
and when it would end to hit the cart system to get the station promo, it took a lot of practice to go end to end, no gap. It was
Yeah,
like
well,
one-
I'll tell you what happened. Eventually, we started putting all the music on carts as well. You know, and the whole thing was cartridges.
Yep.
And today, it's just digital systems with digital, you know.
I hear the system they refer to is called, it's the one that Sirius, it's called Profit.
Profit. Yeah.
What a system that is, because, but then again, when you think about how technology gone, yeah, digital.
I think it was Profit, Prophet, not Profit.
Right.
But yeah, we used the Profit system. That was it.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I worked for the Warner Music Group,
Mm-hmm.
and it's funny because vinyl still sells, it outsells because of the profit it makes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Next time you go someplace that sells albums, look how much they go for, the new ones.
Yeah, LP is very expensive. I remember buying all mine for $3 or something.
Right?
Way back in the 60s.
Well, is it because they're having to be specially made now, as opposed to when they were mass, distributed?
That might be part of it, but you still have stampers, I just get a big kick out of seeing how much the White Album goes for now, and I'm like, no. I look at it, I'm like,
What's
but
the
it's
White
nice.
What's the White Album going for? 'Cause I sold that a long time ago.
oh my God, I think this one, it's like $38, and I'm like,
You mean if you buy a new version
buy it
of the
now,
White
you're-
Album? Okay.
And back in the day, even the half-speed master stuff wasn't that much, but it was like, I look at it
Well,
now.
here,
and
let me ask you a question, since you seem to know something about this. Okay. And by the way, folks, other people can call this program. You're allowed to. Anyway, the question I have is, have they solved the problem that these LPs, because they were vinyl and because they did have a needle in them, they would get scratches associated with them. They would start to degrade in that respect. I remember at the radio stations, we would have to change LPs every now and then, because the first track that you put on always had a little hiss to it, because it was always the one that was queued up, So what have they done something to make these vinyls a little more robust?
You would think. Seriously, as far as I know, I don't think, unless I'm wrong, it's still an album.
Yeah.
That's why what I used to do. I don't know, Charlie. I don't know if you did this too. You would get your album,
Yep.
and then you would make a dupe right to a cassette tape. It's like
Yeah.
what you could preserve the album. You know.
Yes.
And then I play the tape. Yeah,
Exactly,
so
yeah.
That's why
Well, there
I've got
was-
these albums I've had for 55 years that's I can put on my turntable and play today if I wanted to.
But on the other hand, in the early days, there was no such thing as tape. Okay.
Reel to reel. Back when I was buying my albums in the 60s.
Reel to reel was
Reel to
tape,
reel.
but there was a time when we just had LPs. That was it, and 45s,
Yeah.
and 78s. Oddly enough, still going. But I don't understand. See, I would much rather have all my stuff digitized, because I don't have to have, like with these videos I have in back of me, which you can't see because it's being covered by my green screen. Uh, the those things, I put most of them on digital, because why should I take up the room? You know, each time when we went from 45s to 33s, things got lighter. Okay, when we went from 33 and a third to well, we had 45s as well, but they were heavy. But then we went to CDs; they became even less weight, and I think the cassettes were even less weight than a CD with the case. So, I mean, each time we got to a place where you could store this stuff and not take up as much room and as much, and not as much expense either, you know. So I wonder why people now go, we got to have 33 and a thirds. Why, you want to get a hernia lifting 12 of them?
Tell me about it. I've moved these LPs so many times, and I mean, that's my weight.
Well, and they go, you know, they say the sound is so much better. Well, I'll tell you, most of you people out there have so ruined your ears by playing music loud that you wouldn't know the difference between an LP and a digital recording. And in many respects, a digital recording is probably almost better. Yes, you don't have the dynamics. I understand that. Okay, they say with 33s you have dynamics, better highs and lows, and whatever. But for my thinking, a music that takes up less room is what I want to have in my house. Okay, and if the rest of you want to, go out and have those 33s, and look at Charlie. Look at some of his. Those are 33s, right?
And I've got 6 times that in the living room.
How many copies do you figure you have of albums?
I think I've got over 700.
I had something like 2,000 at one time.
Yeah.
Okay, because I used to get them for free.
Record pool. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to get them for free, and they when I left San Francisco, I sold most of my music collection. I think I still have all my comedy records, still that I saved. But I got rid of most of the stuff because I wanted to move. I was coming out here. I wanted to be able to travel light, and I would rather have the money. Okay. Do you have any idea what album? I had things like Beatle albums. I had things like Rolling Stones albums and so on. What album do you think I got the most money for? Any idea? You probably wouldn't even have a clue.
Frank Sinatra?
Well,
I don't know.
but here's the thing. No, you see, the trouble is, Beatles albums weren't worth that much. And the reason they weren't is because why? Everybody in America had those Beatle albums, so they weren't rare. Rolling Stones, same problem. The Who you could do better with the Who for some reason. I got more money for the Who. The top album that I got money for, I think, and this was years ago, I got $300 for the album, was the 13th Floor Elevators. I had a copy of the first album, their first album, as it was released originally in Houston, Texas, on a local label.
Oh, okay.
Okay? The 13th Floor Elevators. Now, can anybody tell me, you can probably, Mark, but can anybody else tell me here what the song was from the 13th Floor Elevators?
I've never heard of them, so no.
Really?
No.
You're going to miss me.
Okay.
And what they were famous for was having an electric jug.
Well,
And I knew them in Houston, Texas. I helped produce that album, that song.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah. I was in on with another guy who worked for the record companies, and he produced the thing, and I helped him do it. So that was. But so I happen to have this album lying around, and the guy who I'm trying to sell stuff to is looking through it, and he goes, "The 13th Floor Elevators, you're gonna miss me." And I'm going, "Yeah, really? How much?" 300? I'll give you 300 for it. Now, he's probably lowballing me for all I know, you know. What do I know? I just wanted to get out of town. You know, so that was something. It was something. But it was amazing what things were worth. You know what? Oddly enough, I couldn't get money for, and this was strange. I have, and it's still in my storage in California, a copy of Tommy by the Who. Now you go, okay, Tommy by the Who. How many copies of that?
One.
Yeah, you got one, but you don't have the one I have.
I bet not.
What I have is a test pressing.
Wow.
A test pressing with a insert done on a mimeograph machine of all the songs that are on it, because it was a white label. There was no, names of the songs on the label. And it was a test pressing, and it said Tommy and opera. And then they kind of put a caret in there and wrote in the word rock.
Yep.
Yeah. The guy couldn't tell. He didn't want to buy it from me because he said, I can't tell you what it's worth. He said, I've never seen anything like this in my life, and I have nothing to judge it against. So I would have thought I could have gotten something for that test pressing. So if any of you want it, I'll will it to you. Okay. You know. Anyway, so, but
I've already got it, so
yeah,
I'm just in it for the music.
Yeah, Shecky had a good baseball card collection. I never saw it, okay, but I was told by him that it was pretty good. You know, so I don't know what happened to that when he died. Whether they
probably his brother knows.
Yeah.
No, but
I don't think his brother was into that sort of thing.
No, but
he probably got it. Whatever he didn't get.
I think what happened was he left money to me. He left money to this woman who was the
one actually found him. Yeah.
The associate producer on a director on the Letterman show was very close to him, and she took care of him in his last year. So then there was me, and then there were a few other people who got a less amount. And then the money that was left over all went to Shecky's brother's wife's charity. She has a charity or something like that. So I would imagine that probably the baseball cards were sold off and given to her, you know, the money given to her. But I'm glad I didn't have to get rid of all. Randy, who is the woman who was the associate director over at Letterman, she did all the selling of the stuff in the apartment, the house, the selling of the house. I mean, she did all that grunt work. And I went, geez, you know, you got so much to clear out. He had a baseball card collection. He had a DVD collection, which probably wasn't worth anything. You know, they're just DVDs, most of them. Some of them were rare, but very few, very few. You know, for all the DVDs I have here, I think they're worth about 35 cents, you know, because other people have them as well. But he, you know, he had a lot of, he was a collector. And so getting rid of all of that and being able to figure out what that was worth, you know, and how much it was worth to the estate. So that was the problem. So anyway, but I thank Shecky, you know, for making my later years nice. Okay, thank you, Shecky. You know, but anyway, so well, I guess this is all it's going to call tonight, but that's fine. Anybody been watching the news at all? Are you finding the news interesting at all, Mark, on any level?
No, no more than anyone else, I guess. It's that perpetual watching of a car wreck. But
yeah,
you know,
what's the car wreck? America?
The whole situation with the as a friend of mine calls them, the exploding Cheeto.
Yeah.
And
All Trump all day.
Did you see all these assholes in the Republican Party lining up to kiss Donald Trump's butt yesterday when he went to Washington, D.C., or as most of people referred to it, returning to the scene of the crime?
yeah.
You know? I mean, they're all kissing his ass. And you've got people like Mitch McConnell, who they've actually got video of him saying right after the attack on the Capitol, you know, Donald Trump should be held to account for this. It's terrible what he's done. I mean, he just vilified him. I think you remember it. And yesterday, hi there. Let's shake hands. Okay, everything's fine. Everything's forgotten. You know, it's amazing. It's amazing the short memory they seem to have. And I don't know what they think they're accomplishing for their party. I mean, they're literally, if he doesn't win this election, and I don't think he will. In the end, I think it's going to be close, but I don't think he's going to win. I think you've seen the end of the Republican Party as we know it. It's going to have to close down and regroup because this is insane. You know, they're just following, why they're following him and why they're being so nice about it, I have no idea whatsoever. So, anyway, by the way, there it is. There's my friend Don Giller.
There's. Oh, wait a minute. Is that real Don?
That's Don Giller.
No. That what he's holding is that.
It is.
That on the side, that's Don Giller, the guy who just showed his face.
No. If that's what I think it is, he's got one of the rarest of rares.
Okay, I have that. I have that one.
This is a mono, not stereo. Stereo is worth more.
I had that one. Okay, there's just one problem. What it was, show them the other thing. Okay, if you went into the stores or if you got the album, okay, and you look closely, that Butcher Block cover was under that. That was.
Well, that's how I got this.
That was glued on to it. Okay. Well, the thing was, I took it off, and it turns out it was worth more with it still on.
Yeah.
Am I right about that?
Yep.
Yeah. So what happened was the first album. Show them the other one. This one's an American version of. Supposedly the British version was much bloodier.
There is no British version.
There is no British version of this.
This was a capital invention.
Oh, you know why?
Of tracks that were on the British Rubber Soul and Revolver, and
they were singles and B-sides.
Singles and tracks from the British version of Revolver and Rubber Soul that were not on the Capitol version.
Yeah, but in any event, they didn't like the cover. They thought it was morbid and terrible. I don't know what's so morbid about it, you know.
They're supposed to be dead babies?
Yeah, but they're doll heads. You know, they're baby dolls, right? It's not like they're dead babies. You know?
Well, it was their way of. It was the Beatles' decision to say, "Look, you're butchering our albums, so we're going to make it literal."
Yeah,
that's what it's about.
So anyway, they had that cover. Well, Capitol didn't like the cover, and they didn't want to do it. So what do? They put that other one on the front of it, glued it on, and that still remained underneath for, I guess, the initial run of that album. Am I right about that? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I bought this. This album was released in '66, and I found this in understock in I think Corvettes in Baltimore, and saw that the original was underneath.
So did you remove that?
Yeah.
How did you do it?
I steamed it off.
Steamed it off. Okay.
Yeah.
I tried steaming it off and I ruined the album. I don't know what happened. But
anyway, yeah, I got this the year later, '67.
Now my question is, if you still had that glued on to that, would it be worth more than it is not glued on there?
I couldn't do it. If I had glued it back on, it would have screwed both.
No,
up.
but I'm saying if you had never taken it off.
Oh yeah, it would be worth more.
It would be worth more.
Yeah.
Because you could see underneath there was
Right.
the other album cover.
I've seen eBay pictures of this album claiming that this is underneath, but you can tell it's not. You know, and they're selling for like $500 to $1,000, and they're ripoffs.
Yeah, yeah. Now, were there any copies of that album with the original cover that weren't covered up? I mean, did it make it out at all to be sold?
I don't think so,
Yeah.
but I might be wrong. I don't think so.
And yours is in mono, not stereo.
Right. And I say the stereo is worth more.
So what do you think that's worth?
A couple hundred, I would think. I would guess.
A couple hundred? Eh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'll look it up.
Yeah. But were you a collector as well?
Yeah, I still have around 2,000, maybe 3,000 records packed away.
Josh,
no, I'm not gonna say.
you know, Mark, the thing is that if you don't know Don Giller.
Oh, I know. I follow, and we're friends on social media. I
Oh,
know,
really?
I know who Don is.
Don's a legend.
Yes.
What are you laughing about, Don? You are.
All right, it's $750 for the stereo. I'm looking at eBay.
750?
Yeah.
No?
There's a state mono. Guy's asking 38,000. And it hasn't sold yet. How could that happen?
Well, you'd think if it didn't sell for 38,000, you'd lower it to 37,000, and then to 36,000, and eventually.
$37.99.
How did he come up with that?
Who knows?
Yeah,
I'm looking. There was
yeah. But Don Giller, in case people don't know, and he's been on this program
stop
several
it.
times.
Stop it.
I just
Knock it
want
off.
to tell him what you do.
Well, I don't want you to tell them.
Okay.
I don't
Okay. He
care.
murders people for a living.
I asked you not to tell anybody.
Oh boy. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh well.
You know what I watched, which is kind of phenomenal. It has to do with some of the stuff you put up on YouTube. Shecky years ago gave me a CD of every performance of Darlene Love on The Late Show doing Christmas Baby Please Come Home.
Right. It was a CD, just the audio?
Not CD, rather it was a DVD. And it had it was either one or two. It's somewhere around here, or I still have it. You know, and you did a compilation of that as well.
Yeah, I'm wondering which came first. How long ago did he do it?
I don't know, but I think that you didn't get it from him.
No, I made my own, and so I'm curious whether he.
This is one he compiled, I think, himself from the stuff he had at the Letterman show.
Yeah.
But it was brilliant listening to those arrangements that Paul Schaefer did.
The pitch would the tonal pitch would go down because Darlene was having trouble hitting the high notes, which is common when you get that old.
Oh, really? I didn't notice that. They changed the pitch on it.
Yeah.
She still could sing it like crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's not a criticism. It's just...
Well, what was amazing, I played it for Marjorie today. I said, Marjorie, I want you to hear Paul Schaefer, and I think it was there was a song that Phil Spector produced with Ike and Tina Turner.
Yep.
Called River Deep Mountain High.
I knew you were going to say that. Yes.
It wasn't Ike and Tina Turner.
Ike and Tina Turner did River Deep Mountain High, I believe.
Forgive me. I thought you were referring to Christmas Baby, Please Come Home.
No.
Sorry.
But it was the last record until the Beatles that Spector ever produced. And the reason was
67.
The reason was when he finished that recording, he said, "This is the best record I've ever made."
And it flopped.
And it flopped. Now today, you can't even imagine it being a flop. Everybody sings it. You know, I saw a thing of what's her name, the Canadian singer, Titanic. What's her name? You know what I'm talking about. You know, Celine Dion doing it on the Letterman show.
B. Arthur.
Yeah, on the Letterman show. And I said, I have a newfound respect for Celine Dion because she sang the hell out of that song. But the arrangement, and this is what I pointed out to Marjorie, I said, listen to this. Now let me play you the original arrangement. It was identical. Paul Schaefer managed to recreate that wall of sound in the studio. And he kept adding musicians, and it became a gigantic group of people doing it. But the fact of the matter was that as many people as he had doing it, I remember him doing it. And you had it. You posted it the first time she ever was on the NBC show singing "Christmas Baby Please Come Home" with just basically the group, and he got it to sound like the original arrangement. I mean, he was amazing.
You remember the club in New York called The Bottom Line?
Yes, of course. Of course.
So there was a show called Leader of the Pack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she did it, right?
Paul Schaefer was in them. I'm sorry. I'm stepping on your line. I'm sorry.
What's interesting was that club. It was when you heard it, it was like, holy shit! What did I just experience here? You know, and the place just erupted with a standing ovation. It was just phenomenal. That's why when seeing it on Letterman again, it was like, yes, yes, please.
Yeah, Ellie Greenwich
yes,
did that. And Paul enticed Dave to go to see one of the shows. This was in '84. And Dave was so taken by Darlene's performance of "Christmas Baby Please Come Home" that eventually resulted in Darlene performing the song 2 years later on Late Night.
How many years did she do it? Something like 27, 28?
Well, she claims that she did it from '86 to 2014 with no breaks, and that's just not true.
There was a break, wasn't there, for a couple of years?
She did it in '86, and then when the show went to CBS, the first Christmas show in '93 was Andy Williams did not that song, but I think what a wonderful.
Oh, I would love to hear him try to do "Christmas Baby Please Come Home."
And then Darlene then began her run on Late Show from '94 until '06, and then there was a writer's strike in '07, and then straight from '08 to '14. But she keeps on claiming that she did it from '86 to '14.
Well, on one of the versions I saw, Dave said she's been doing it now for the last 25 years.
Yeah, but that's just not
But was
true.
it just 25 years, but not continuous?
It's like 18 years total.
Yeah, yeah. But still, that's pretty amazing.
And people get on my back for saying, no, Darlene said it was this one. I said, I posted every one. There are no others. If you can find them, post it. You're not going to find them because they don't exist.
And occasionally she had gone back to that show to do other songs, like she did "He's a Rebel."
She did she did River Deep Mountain High on Late Night ones.
Yes, yeah.
And when Tina Turner,
I think she did it better. I think she did it better than Tina.
Okay.
Is that heresy?
I don't care. When Tina was first on Late Night in '84, when she was promoting Private Dancer, which hadn't quite hit yet, during the commercial break, Paul and the band played River Deep Mountain High, which Tina acknowledged when the show went to her second guest segment. So that's trivia that no one also should care about.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just. But I listened to that, and I listened to what Paul did with that arrangement and with those arrangements, and I went, "This is ridiculous." It's just. What a musical resource that man was for that show.
Yeah. I mean, you can't. Uh, uh, it's a cliche, but he really is a musical encyclopedia. He just knows
Well,
everything.
also, if you think of all the people that on late night shows were the orchestras, I can't think of anybody that was that valuable to a show
Yeah.
than Paul Schaefer. You know, and yeah, he's a musical encyclopedia. You know, he could play an arrangement from any song. That's the funny part about it. And of course, every song has a different arrangement. You know, so whatever. Yeah.
I tried to come on last night, but I couldn't get through.
Well, we weren't on last night.
Oh.
We ran a compilation last night of all my friends, which didn't go over that well. So, you know, nobody wants to listen to this anymore. I've got to. But what can I do to change the nature of this show? Stop doing what? What?
Dancing girls.
Dancing girls.
What did he say,
Charlie?
Charlie?
Dancing girls.
Dancing girls. Oh, that'd be good. It'd be kind of tight here because this is, you know, that's a
It
great.
doesn't have to be at your place.
You're right. You're right. Do you want them naked?
Yeah.
Isn't that sexist by today's standards? You wouldn't do naked women dancing today, would you?
I know people that still go to see them.
Yeah, yeah. So you're Mark, you're quite familiar with the work of Mr. Giller then.
Oh, geez,
Well, I have two very strange connections to the Letterman show. I don't even know if I want to admit them right now.
would you steal?
Go ahead.
Well, one has to do with Calvert DeForest,
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
who was my grandmother's neighbor and was a patient of my dad. My dad operated a very successful optometric practice in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. You know all those eyeglass frames that Albert wore? They were from my dad's shop.
Oh, okay. All righty.
Second one. So you remember when Dave did that whole bit, Just Bulbs, the shops
Yes,
in New
right,
York?
Right.
Well, one of the places they went to was a lingerie producer called Movie Star Lingerie.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any movie stars here? No, we don't. But well, I think they interviewed my sister, who's the design director.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my weird connections to
Yeah.
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 You know, I have a better connection to Conan O'Brien, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I wouldn't admit to it, but you know, I mean,
and I was a fan of Dave's his morning show too, but that's a whole nother.
Were you did you watch late night a lot?
Oh
The
boy,
Letterman?
oh boy.
I was going to show you.
I'm going to tell you something.
Oh, no,
Marjorie never watched David Letterman. The reason she didn't is because she had to go to work the next day and she didn't stay up that late. Okay. So she you know, when I told her, hey, Letterman was the best there ever was, you know, and I've been through all of them. I was a big fan of Jack Parr. I thought he was the end all until Letterman came along, and she started watching some of your videos and some of the Letterman videos that have been put up on, and then she has now become addicted to Dave, you know, and she had to admit he's the best ever. You know, there's just nothing wrong there, you know. I mean, it's slowed down towards
Johnny Carson.
What?
He's not better than Johnny Carson.
Oh yes, I think so.
No way. No way.
I think so.
So do you remember?
What do you know? I'm a professional.
I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, even Dave would say it's not Johnny.
Well, he would, but the fact was, well, Mark, what would you say, Letterman or Carson?
For me, it was Letterman. I'll tell you why. Johnny was always there. That was like my parents' generation.
Mm-hmm.
That's Dave was like the cool older brother or cool uncle, the guy you'd hang around with and, go to a movie or a ball game with. And I just really dug where this guy was coming from. It was like, okay, he was a comedian. I remember him in New York once and twice. But when he got that the daytime show, it was like, how does this happen? How is this going on there? And you just knew that.
Well, it was because NBC made the biggest mistake they ever made. He was meant to be on in late night. That's the kind of act he had. And who thought he should go on at 10 o'clock in the morning is beyond me.
But it was just so bizarre to see this guy do this show. And it was like, am I watching another Ernie Kovacs in the making here?
And who was the announcer for Ernie Kovacs?
Yeah. And that's exactly. Yeah.
Who was the announcer for the morning show for
Actually, there were two.
There are two?
Bill Wendell came on when Hal Gurney became director. But before that, now I can't think of his name.
His name was Bob Sarlott.
Bob Sarlott.
And he was a San Francisco comedian.
Right. He was there for the first 6 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
And then Wendell replaced him.
Yeah. But they it was a rough version of what Letterman became. What Letterman became at night was just so much looser and what appeared to be, even if it wasn't, off the cuff.
But at that point in my life, I was working nights, then going to like CBGBs, and then coming home, crashing, and then turning the TV on, and here's this, and I'm like, Letterman, the comedian, and. It was just like, how does this happen? Next thing I know, I'm calling my friend Ed, and we're talking, we're both barely awake, and we're watching, and like a running commentary going on. I was a fan of Coffee Cup Theater, too.
Yeah, how long did that show last, the morning show? Was it 12 weeks?
18 weeks.
18 weeks? And then Dave figured that was the end of him and TV, right?
Yeah. Do you remember there was a guy, this was on late night, he impersonated Bob C. Wright and the earlier who was Mary Tyler Moore's husband? I can't think.
God.
Yeah,
I know.
Both were the head of NBC.
Yeah.
And
Grant Tinker.
Right. And there's a guy on the show who would come on and say, "Hi, I'm Grant Tinker," or "Hi, I'm Robert C. Wright," and he would present Dave with a Humanitas Award for telling just a god awful joke. Remember that?
Don't tell me you have it.
No.
Necktie joke.
And what they would do is they would paste on other awards.
For supper, Hal?
Yeah, that was a one-night thing. You can say it it begins and ends on the same day.
How did you lay your hands on those?
An intern who worked for Conan was given a tour of the prop room. This is in the mid-90s.
After they had left. After they had left, I imagine.
Yeah, and the prop guy gave this to him, and he then sent this to me. That's how I got it.
Wow. Okay. How much is that worth?
20, 30
It's like
bucks.
Shecky once told me, things are only worth what people are willing to pay for them.
Oh, sure.
So that no matter, it can be worth millions or it can be worth 10 cents, but it's only what is somebody willing to pay to lay their hands on it.
Mm-hmm. You want to see more?
Yeah, sure, but Tony,
Okay.
while you're getting them, Tony?
Yes, you know what? Funny you said that. I was listening to you before. I brought this over Shecky's house one time, and he couldn't believe I had this. I went to the Comic-Con, and I helped Jerry Robinson out and his helper at the table. He says, "No way you got this." I says, at the end of the show, he says, "Come sit down." He signed a whole bunch of things for me for free. So I got them CGC'd. I never sold them, comic books. Then he says, "Wait, I want to give you something before you go." I says, "Are you sure, Jerry?" He says, No, you've been a big help. He signed a Joker card for me. If you could see, I brought this to Sheck and show him. He could not believe. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
And it's signed by Jerry Robinson. And I'm going to send this off to CGC to authenticate it. He signed it right in front of me. Now, even he told me that day, "What do you think this is worth?" I says, "To tell you the truth, it's one of a kind. I don't think he would sign many because he was old at the time, Jerry." And this, actually, I couldn't even put a price on that. This could be worth anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 if somebody wants.
You know what I was told? If you have something and it's signed,
yeah,
and it's signed to you, it's not worth as much as if it's just signed.
Yeah, he signed books to me, but this he just signed. He put his name on.
Yeah, but it's worth more without it being signed to you than. Why is that though?
Because I think it's more of a because people probably frown upon it. Like if I see, like when he signed it, he says, "I'm going to just put my name on it for you." I didn't even say it. I couldn't believe he signed the Joker company because he was discussing the Joker at the Comic-Con. And I was just like, wow.
Yeah. Hold on a second. I'm going to go get something here. I'll be right back.
Okay. I wanted to show you that because I showed that to Shecky. He could not believe it the day I brought it over that Saturday. He's like, "Oh my God." I said, "I know. I couldn't believe it." I'm going to keep that though. I would probably pass that down to somebody. If somebody liked Batman or something.
When I sit down for an hour, it takes me forever to get back up again.
But when I showed that to him, he couldn't get over it. He said, "Oh my God, that's Jerry Robinson." I said, "I know. I couldn't believe it."
Here is something that is signed to me. The date on it there's a postmark on it. Oops. Kevin entered the waiting room. Okay, let's let Kevin in here. Hold on a second. Admit Kevin. Is it Kevin? Or is it going to wind up being somebody who isn't Kevin? Oh, there he is. Okay. The date on this is 11th of March, 1975. I've shown this before. Can you see that? I'm trying to. There we go.
Tuesday. That was a Tuesday.
It's John Lennon. And it is John Lennon. And
back to John Lennon thing. Yeah.
You may notice he changed it to John Lennon O.
That's nice, Alex. You got to keep that.
Yeah. And he sent this
Alex,
to me.
How much is the stamp? Does
it says, was it a dream or did someone hand me a phone telling me I was on the air with Alex Bennett? Jesus, I hope I was okay. I had enough shit last year. That's when he was out in California.
Is that the lost year, Alex? Was that the thing?
That's the lost year. Yeah. Then it's got a signature down here, and then beside it, a little drawing of his face with the 75 written on it. See, if you can see that face and down on the bottom there. Yeah.
Wow. He's promoting the rock and roll.
I've never been able to figure out what this is worth. Shecky once told me he thought it was worth about 25 grand.
I think it could be more, Alex.
No, it could be worth less today because there are people who don't even know who John Lennon was.
Oh, I don't believe
No.
You're crazy.
And it wasn't written. It was just a postcard addressed to you. It wasn't written to, it wasn't say for you, Alex, or best
wishes,
Alex.
No, it says up here, "Dear Alex."
Yeah, but it was written as a letter. It wasn't written as a autograph best wishes.
Oh no,
Alex
no, this was a letter, right?
Yeah, so that's a little different.
It's pretty cool.
It makes it different.
But
and it has, Alex,
if anybody wants to buy it, 25 grand, okay?
You know what you got to do? If you have a son, you know what you got to do? What I would say to
Can you peel it off and see?
Take it down to the you take that down to the auction house. Yes.
They have one in the city. I knew a couple of people who worked in there, but they wanted that, but I won't give it to them yet.
Yeah, I don't know how much
that might be Heritage. It's all over.
Not Heritage, but there's another one out there. What's that one that they do the big auctions on all the time? Yeah, Sotheby's. Yeah. They might want something like that.
You know, I have an autograph of all four doors.
This you got your Morris?
And I sent an image to Sotheby's and they weren't interested.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you have it on a record then? I guess.
It's back of a playbill when they were in Baltimore in '67. And afterwards, I followed them to their car in an alley after the show was over. This was a concert where there were maybe 10 people in the audience, and I talked to Ray, and Jim was He was the driver, polite as hell, completely different from his onstage persona. Anyway, Sotheby's didn't care. They didn't give us credit.
Maybe someone like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or something might want.
Yeah,
something
let me
like
see.
that,
I'll take that.
Well,
out.
it depends.
Anyway,
It depends also on some artists don't like signing autographs. So when they do have autographs by an artist, they're amazed. Like this thing is not worth money because of the autograph. It's worth money because of the content of the letter, of the postcard, in which he's referencing problems he had,
Yeah, just because it's a postcard.
So it has a little more, But it was, all of a sudden that just showed up one day, and I just kept the postcard because I kept the postcard. And then after a couple of years, I went, oh, well, I better go frame it. So I put it in this, little frame.
I mean, just to think that he thought of you, it was on his mind.
And then I used to have it hanging up on my wall in my apartment. And I went, so many people come through this apartment.
Yeah, I don't know if it would hang up.
I don't think I should hang it up anymore. So now I just have it here in the office up on the thing. But I don't, I don't have it somewhere where people can kind of grab it. And I'm going, well, maybe I should sell it because what's it worth to me? I can't hang it to show it to people,
Yeah, but now you've got a good 25, 30 people watching this.
Yeah, who know to come up here and rob
Put
me.
the paddles up. Wait, sold to the man. Put the rolling bank checks out. Cash is king.
Yeah. Well, did you say you had more stuff? Oh, come on.
Yeah. This is a Rubik's Cube.
Oh, I got my Rubik's Cube here.
That NBC had promoted back in '82. That Dave hated.
He did.
What?
It was actually used.
Letterman Cube.
Yeah, it was actually used as a bumper.
Cool.
And Dave said, "Don't ever use that bumper again."
Why?
So that's what this is.
My cube. Not Dave.
Forget yours. Who cares about yours?
I solved this. I used to be able to do. Yeah, sorry.
Oh no!
Oh,
no!
look at that.
No!
Good stuff.
Right, Mark?
Okay.
It has instructions.
What are the instructions? Read them to us.
It's easy to play.
Can have game night.
It's easy to play. Just follow these simple steps. 1, select an item. 2, guess whether or not item will float. 3, place item in water. 4, observe whether or not item floats. 5, note whether or not your guess was correct. That's all there is to it. Endless hours of fun.
Kill an hour.
Wow.
They even assign points.
Is that the only one they made up, or did they make up a whole bunch of them?
I think this is the only one.
Really?
Yeah.
And there are the girls. There's the
and they posted Play on the Roof. They added that on there.
Play on.
Oh yeah, the rooftop edition. There
rooftop edition. Okay. And those are the Will It Float girls, including Grinder Girl, who was my favorite.
The
girl.
Yeah.
Grinder Girl. Where's Grinder Girl?
She's there. There we go. What she had was a metal. She did this out at Coney Island, and she had what it is basically is a metal corset, and she had a grinder, and then she would put the grinder against the metal corset, and sparks would go flying, and she was part of the presentation of Will It Float. So, wow. Well, now you're going to be arrested from stealing stuff from the Letterman show.
Yeah, this was given to me.
It was given to you? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. By somebody there who appreciated you?
Pat Farmer?
Yes. Of course.
He gave it to me.
Wow. I often wonder how much stuff goes missing from those shows after they close down.
Oh.
Yeah, because you walk out the door, you want to take stuff with you. I mean, I'd like to know, what did Dave take with him? Does anybody know? Dave must have taken something that meant something to him. Yeah.
But I'm pissed. I can't find the Doors thing. I know it's around here.
Well, you didn't take a big ass ham with him back to.
Yeah, if you got a big, you aren't that good, so far as I'm concerned, because he's right. You don't have a big ass ham. If people
I know
don't
someone
know,
who does.
if people don't know what we're talking,
I think Jason Zinnemann got one, and he saved it for years, and of course it reeked.
Oh.
Did he open it up?
I think he did.
I wouldn't open it up, But a big ass ham, yeah. People who never watched Letterman don't know what we're talking about. Don't see the value in the will it float home game, But you remember this stuff, don't you, Kevin?
Yeah.
Yep. See? Boy. Now this is a good show. This is a good show and tell
people
show.
Tricks, all that stuff. Yeah.
Next time, I'll dig out the Doors thing and show it next time.
Yeah, well, if I had time, I'd bring in I have a whole poster of the Tommy by the Who.
I heard you had to record
that. Fillmore signed on the back a card from Peter Townsend and the management team at Kit Lambert, and I can't remember the other guy's name. And they signed it, and it's also signed by the guy who did the artwork. But over the years, his signature, because it was done in ballpoint, has kind of, you can barely read it anymore.
In '67, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards were busted, and they were put in jail. And the Who released a single only in England. The A-side was The Last Time, and the B-side was Under My Thumb.
Right. Yeah.
And I have it, which of course it's somewhere.
Well, I'll tell you though, this is fun stuff. This is fun stuff. Over the years I collected a lot of stuff, but I got rid of it. Just because how much can you collect? It's like in life, you start out, with nothing, and then like a snowball rolling down a hill, eventually you become this giant snowball, and then you become an avalanche, and you're dragging this stuff wherever you move. The great story I have, and I'll tell it to you quickly, I did a TV show down in Houston, Texas. And when I stopped doing it, I said to them, do we have a copy of the show? And they said, yeah, here. And it was like one of those, huge 2-inch tapes that weighed about, 15, 20 pounds and came in a case. Right?
They gave it to you?
So I took it everywhere for the years that came. I took it to let's see here. I took it to Minneapolis. I took it to New York, and then I took it back out to San Francisco.
Okay, you can never play it.
Well, I did, because when I was at Channel 44 in San Francisco, I had this this tape with me, and they had some old 2-inch machines. So I said, here, could you make a copy of this for me? Yeah, we'll put it on. And they put it onto a VHS for me. I've been lugging this thing around for years. I put the tape on. It's somebody else's show.
Geraldo.
Anyway, hey, I'm playing the theme. Boy, this has been fun. This has been really fun tonight. It's been enjoyable. Glad to have Mark back. I mean, it means he's out of work, but what the hell, Mark? I feel sorry for you, and if there's any way I can help you, I will. But please, call us. You're wonderful.
I'll probably be around Monday, so.
I'm not. Oh, Monday, the Monday show. Oh, Monday show, oh, yeah. Yeah, you're welcome on that one. So's Giller. Giller, come on to the Monday show, okay?
I usually take naps around that hour.
Oh, jeez. I take naps at all hours of the day. Just turn the TV set on. I'm out. Anyway, thank you so much, Charlie, for being here tonight. And thank you for being here tonight, Mark. And Jeff, thank you. We appreciate it.
It was very interesting to listen to.
Yes, Don Giller. Yes, a very visual show today, too. Tony, thank you. And thanks to Kevin. All of you, give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye at you, okay? There they go. That's our citizen panel, folks. sign off and get rid of them. And they'll probably be back again next time. Hey, listen, Amy Manuel is next with The Intersection. She'll be here at Gabnet Live on Skype. We'll see you again on Monday. We're on Facebook. We'll be doing the Monday show at 4 o'clock. And then we'll be back here again on Wednesday, same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Good night. Have a nice weekend, everybody. Bye.